What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out the F-111 Aardvark, a fighter jet assassin. This is by US Military News. We've watched a few of their videos, and they're genuinely fantastic with the information. So get comfy, get yourself a cup of tea or a coffee, whatever tickles your fancy. Get yourself a nice biscuit. Enjoy the video. If you want to watch the video without me waffling over the top of it, you can check that out. It'll be in the description down below. You can go over to their channel, subscribe to them, like their videos and all that good stuff. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on these videos as well. It helps with that mysterious YouTube algorithm. Over 90% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed, so if you do want to subscribe, please do that. It would certainly help. Other than that, let's shut up, let's pull this up, and let's have a cheeky peek. Oh, it's turned subbies on as well, actually. There we go. Whoa!
The F-111 Aardvark is a jet fighter assassin.
The Aardvark. F-111 Aardvark. That's a weird looking plane. The wings look longer than you would expect. I wonder if they're like retractable wings where they kind of like go back on themselves a little bit.
The F-111 Aardvark was the U.S. Air Force's premier strike aircraft for the majority of the Cold War.
Oh, okay.
It served in practically every conflict from Vietnam forwards until it was replaced by the F-15E Strike Eagle.
Interesting.
It also served Strategic Air Command in a limited role as a strategic bomber.
Oh.
But what made the F-111 great? Did the United States truly lose any capability by retiring it?
Why is it putting out fire out the back? I don't know much about aircraft. Obviously, I was boots on the ground Royal Marines Commandos, and I don't know much about aircraft. And that's why we're watching these videos, so we can learn together and have some fun. I'm just wondering why there's flames out the back of it. Is it cool? Yes, it is. But why is it there? You know what I mean?
The F-111 was one of the earliest joint service aircraft, meant to fulfill both the U.S. Air Force's requirement for a swing-wing strike bomber and the U.S. Navy's requirement for a long-range interceptor.
Oh, okay. Dual use. Interesting.
Revolutionary design.
Oh, look at that. It's got like the two sides of the cockpit. So it's sitting in parallel, not sitting behind each other.
The F-111 was built around two powerful yet fuel-efficient TF-30 turbofan engines with new afterburner technology.
Massive.
The fuselage could accommodate bomb loads of up to 31,000 pounds and
Oh my god, look at how many bombs it can hold. Wow.
fuel for missions up to 2,500 miles long, with external tanks adding another 1,000 miles. The large plane weighed 20 tons empty, or more than twice that loaded.
Wow.
The designers of the F-111 faced a challenge. They needed a plane that could fly at very high speeds, but still take off or land on a short runway.
It's a big one, isn't
Using
it?
smaller wings would create less drag, allowing the aircraft to fly faster, but also create less lift, requiring the aircraft to achieve higher speeds before takeoff, in turn necessitating a longer runway. For example, the other supersonic fighter bomber of the era, the F-105 Thunder Chief, had very small wings and required airstrips over a mile long for takeoff, limiting which airfields it could operate from.
We saw a plane recently in a video that had wings that could retract on themselves and come out. And I can't remember what that one was. I don't think it was this one.
The F-111's designers adopted a new technology of variable geometry, or swing wings.
Yeah.
These permitted the wings to swing out during takeoff to generate maximum lift and would tuck inward mid-flight to achieve higher speeds.
Whoa. What was the other jet? Someone will let me know in the comments. It might have been the same one, but it wasn't a full video on it.
The F-111 was the first of several major designs that used the technology.
Okay, so there's a bit of
The two-man crew sat side by side in a cockpit pod. If they needed to escape, a rocket boosted the pod upward, which then floated to the ground on a parachute.
Wow.
Just like a space capsule. A key innovation was the F-111's revolutionary new terrain-following radar, which mapped the ground directly in front of the plane and then automatically adjusted the flight path to avoid a collision.
Wow.
This allowed F-111s to fly as low as 200 feet above the surface and make precise adjustments at high speeds without crashing, even when flying at night or in bad weather conditions.
So far, it seems like a great bit of kit, this one. Like, it seems like a genuinely really good bit of kit.
The F-111's talent for hunting in darkness, nose close to the ground, was what earned it the appellation Aardvark.
What does Aardvark
Early
mean?
F-111s did show promise, capable of flying over the speed of sound at Mach 1.2 at low altitude, or more than double that, Mach 2.5 at high altitude.
Wow.
All the while requiring only a 2,000-foot runway to land.
That's really impressive. That's really, really impressive.
It was the first tactical aircraft to cross from the United States to Europe without mid-air refueling. However, the F-111's design was biased in favor of the Air Force's specifications. The carrier-based interceptor version, the F-111B, performed abominably in trials, struggling to exceed Mach 1. The expensive forced compromise that was the naval version was finally scrapped, leaving everyone millions of dollars poorer.
Oh, that's a shame.
Many of the more promising design elements of the F-111B made it over to the F-14 Tomcat, however.
Interesting. Okay, so they did take a lot of it and move it to other aircraft. It's weird because it does seem like a good bit of kit, doesn't it? It might have been that transition phase again we spoke about on here where we transition between older aircraft and newer aircraft. And it seems like you get a few different ones in between before you get the standard. Like you got the F-22 and the F-35, and you've got previous ones. It seems like there's always aircraft in the middle of them that just don't cut it. But there's good bits that are useful for the next iteration that might be the next big thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Desert Storm. F-111s participated in the Gulf War, Operation Desert Storm, in 1991. During Desert Storm, F-111Fs completed 3.2 successful strike missions for every unsuccessful one, better than any other U.S. strike aircraft used in the operation.
Wow.
The group of 66 F-111Fs dropped almost 80% of the war's laser-guided bombs, including the penetrating bunker buster GBU-28.
Okay, so maybe this wasn't an intermediary, what's the word I'm looking for? Intermediary aircraft. One between two good ones. It seems like this was one of the good ones. Seems like this was one of the best ones.
The F-111s were credited with destroying more than 1,500 Iraqi tanks and armored vehicles. Their use in the anti-armor role was dubbed tank blinking.
Tank blinking.
Pigs of the Pacific. The F-111 remained in service with the Australian Air Force until 2010, where it was affectionately known as the Pig.
Until 2010? That's crazy. Well, it's still 14 years ago. Oh my god, 2010 was 14 years ago. But still, it's relatively recent.
Starting with a batch of 24 F-111Cs received in 1973, the Australians acquired an additional 15 FB-111s and 4 F-111As. Though never used in combat, the F-111s gave Australia the ability to project military force across the vast distances of the Pacific Ocean, enhancing its diplomatic clout.
Yeah.
Pigs were the pride of Australian air shows, where they frequently performed a maneuver in which fuel was dumped and ignited with the afterburners, known as the dump and burn.
The dump and burn.
Australia upgrades its F-111s to use anti-shipping missiles and converted 4 into reconnaissance aircraft.
Wow.
Due to their high operating costs, however, they were finally replaced by 24 F-18F Super Hornets.
Makes sense.
While the F-111
Which I haven't done a video on them yet. If you want me to do a video, let me know in the comments section.
has been retired, a similar aircraft remains in use today. The Russian Sukhoi Su-24 Fencer was conceived shortly after the F-111 and is remarkably similar in appearance and role down to the swing wings.
Interesting. Them Soviets stole one and copied, I'm guessing.
The Aardvark's equal in terms of range, speed, or weapons load. Nearly 3 times more Su-24s were produced, and over 300 serve on today in various world air forces.
Still used today.
They've been actively used.
I swear Russia's behind us a little bit, aren't they?
Used in combat over Syria, Chechnya, Libya, Afghanistan, and Ukraine. A Russian Su-24 attacking Syrian rebels was shot down in 2015 by a Turkish F-16, causing a major diplomatic incident.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Very.
That's legit crazy. One was shot down.
563 F-111s of all variants were built.
Obviously, we're talking about the Russian one, not the Western one, not the American one.
After the F-111A, the F-111D and E models upgraded the Aardvark's electronics and engine inlets and increased the thrust of the engines. Another variant, the FB-111, was designed as a strategic bomber with improved engines, stretched 2 feet longer to accommodate additional fuel, 75 of
I like that it's called FB-111. That's interesting.
these served in strategic air command units. The F-111C was sold exclusively to Australia. It incorporated a mixture of design elements of the FB-111 and the F-111E.
Interesting.
The definitive F-111F sported engines with 35% more thrust,
F-111F.
upgraded radar, and a PaveTac infrared targeting pod that allowed the crew to identify targets on the ground and hit them with precision-guided munitions.
So it's a good bit of kit, this
Starting
then,
in the
innit? Let's be honest.
mid-1970s, 42 F-111As were converted into unarmed EF-111A Raven electronic jamming platforms at a cost of $1.5 billion.
Whoa! That's a lot of money. Holy!
The EF-111's key system was an ALQ-99E jamming pod that emitted radiation that scrambled radars in the vicinity, permitting entire formations of aircraft to pass in its wake undetected.
Whoa.
When active, the jammer's current literally caused the hairs on the crew's heads to stand as it crackled through the plane.
Yeah, that's not a vibe. I wouldn't want to fly that.
Thus, the Raven was known as the Sparkvark to its pilots.
Sparkvark.
The EF-111 is distinguishable by the receiver pod on the tail fin.
The Sparkvark. I like that.
The F-111 was in service with the USAF from 1967 through 1998.
Okay.
The FB-111s were operated by Strategic Air Command.
That means they were used in Australia like 12, 13 years later. Wow.
From 1969 before the conversion to F-111G.
Oh, no, wait, they said 2014, didn't they? No, they didn't. They said, what did they say for Australia? 2010, wasn't it? Yeah, so like 12 years later.
And transferred to Air Combat Command until their retirement in 1993.
Interesting. Dump and burn. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Great video, as always, by the US Military News. I really enjoy this channel a lot, so definitely check it out if you haven't already. There's a link in the description. Other than that, that's it. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Helps with that mysterious YouTube algorithm. I really appreciate it when you do that. I really do. It goes a long way, and I try to read all the comments, as you know, because I heart most of them. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.